It's the Off-Grid Prep Family Podcast.
Hey everybody, it's episode 44 of the Off-Grid Prep Family Podcast.
Oh.
Today we're talking about prepping for winter.
Prepping for winter. It's an arduous job. It gets different every year.
Yeah, and doing it off-grid, there's a lot of the same things and some things that are maybe specific to off-grid.
Yeah,
or just being more prepared.
I think just being more prepared.
Yeah.
We found we have a lot in common with our Amish friends.
That's true. We're kind of
because
all
they
the
also
same.
Don't have a lot of power.
Yeah, we're on the same yearly type of schedule.
Mm-hmm.
We're all doing the same stuff every week.
Yeah.
Yeah. First, I guess the first thing that I always think about when we're preparing for winter is meat.
Meat, yeah.
As meat starts getting ready to go in the freezer, you're harvesting your meat or you're sourcing it.
The cows are ready in the fall.
Yeah, nobody wants to
places.
feed those animals over the winter. So every fall, you're looking in the barnyard thinking, what can I get rid of that I don't have to feed and water all winter long?
Tying back into the hurricane episode, we recently received a bunch of free meat from a friend of ours because they had no power.
They had no power.
Their meat was going to spoil.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was pretty exciting. We were really super thankful about that.
Yeah. We get our freezers ready. We have a second freezer that we mostly just use in the fall for a cow.
Yeah.
And, if you're going to process birds or whatever, you make sure you've got your processing set up, all kind of laid out and, everything that you need. Yeah.
So when we process chickens, we've come up with a pretty innovative system that, I don't know, we just kind of work through it step
over
by
the years,
step.
Yeah.
So what we do, we start with what we call a killing cone, and basically it's a cone-shaped, like 3-foot tall piece of tin or whatever flat metal, and I shaped it into a cone, so it's about 18 inches at the top and about 6 inches at the bottom, or maybe even 4 inches at the bottom, and then I screw it together and I screw it on slats of wood, which are then screwed down to a 5-gallon pail.
Right.
So you end up with this thing that's about 4 feet tall.
Yeah.
And maybe 5 feet tall. And what you do is you hang a chicken or a duck, any fowl, from a rope. Yeah. I use a step ladder as my tripod, but you could build a tripod. And then you hang this bird from the ladder by its feet. Yeah. Very important. And sometimes they get out, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah, just like a little noose.
Yeah, and it's kind of a 2-person operation. One person pushes the head down through the cone, the other person grabs the head, and then the bird's hanging there with his head hanging out.
But his feet are
secured. Its feet are secured, tied to the rope to the ladder. And then
sometimes they hop out.
Well,
often they'll hop out.
If they're not tied properly. So anyway, you do that, and I think we have to take a break for a sponsor here.
Yeah, I guess we'll take a break before we go into the details, the minutia of chicken
I wasn't going to talk about it, but it's the one thing that I think we figured out how to do really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Off-Grid Prep Family planners. If you go to our planners page at offgridprepfamily.com, you'll see our whole array of planners. They're for homesteading. If you homeschool, they could be helpful. If you don't homeschool, it would also be probably quite helpful. It has the pantry planner, the garden planner, your seasonal clothing changes, daily layouts for all your farm chores, and they're $16.99 on Amazon.com. And Amazon.ca, the price sort of fluctuates thereabouts.
Yeah.
So, offgridprepfamily.com, go to the planners page. You can pick out the cover you like. The inside's basically the same. So just get one that you don't think is ugly so that you'll keep it on your counter and actually use it.
Yeah.
On to the chicken processing.
Yeah, so you got this chicken upside down in this metal cone suspended by a rope over a 5-gallon pail.
Yes.
So you take a sharp knife, you cut its head off.
Yeah.
It does its chicken thing where it wriggles and kicks and goes wild, but it's upside down in a metal cone. So even if a foot breaks free of the rope, it doesn't run around the yard. Yeah. And the second thing that happens is it bleeds into the bucket. So we've found it's clean, it's efficient. Yeah. And so there's kind of a 3-step or 4-step process.
Okay.
So beside this, immediately, let's say to the right of the chicken killing cone, is a fire that we've lit and got water boiling in a canning pot.
Oh, on top of the fire, yeah.
On top of the fire. We suspend it with a couple of metal rails. You could do something with bricks.
Some people use the propane burners. We don't really like.
No, we tried it. It was awful. Yeah,
we
it's
always
so
have
much
too much wind or something.
No, it was wildly inefficient. We got
Yeah.
a really good one, and compared to just a standard wood fire,
Right.
it was
Yeah.
totally inadequate.
And a wood fire's free.
Yeah,
So.
wood fire's free. And so you
So
light a fire in your gravel or whatever.
Yeah.
And before we kill the first chicken, we get the water boiling. And then you only have to dunk it in for about 10 seconds in boiling water. And then you take it immediately from the killing cone to the boiling water for 10 seconds. And then we've got a second ladder, or you can build a tripod set up, where we hang the chicken again from its feet
Yeah.
over a big, like 20-gallon garbage pail.
Yeah.
With a bag in it, if you want, or we just dump the feathers in the garden so we don't put a bag in it. And that's the plucking station.
Yeah.
So after it's been scalded, I guess
Yeah.
you call it. So
You
then
can tell when it's done because one of those tail feathers will just like slide right out.
they're really tough feathers.
Yeah, you don't want to overdo it or you'll
Yeah.
kind of cook the skin a little bit and
Yeah.
then it tears.
And you can see that. It's only
Yeah.
a second or two difference, so you really have to get a feel for it. But it's about 10 seconds
Yeah.
with boiling water.
Yeah.
You have to keep feeding the fire, obviously, if you use a wood fire.
So
but
at that
it's really,
point, after we've hung the chicken at the plucking station,
yes,
we catch the next chicken.
we catch the next chicken. Yeah.
Because it's all about sort of getting the
rhythm,
assembly line
the
going.
assembly line going. And then we start the process all over again. Once the first chicken's plucked, it goes to the gutting table.
Yeah.
And it gets gutted. We keep another garbage pail handy. Once again, if you have to get rid of it through the garbage,
Then I guess you need
put it in a bag.
Yeah.
We dump it in the garden.
Yeah.
Usually the critters get it, the foxes
Yeah.
and whatever, raccoons.
We attempt to compost it.
To
but
compost it, but
nature
it
tends
doesn't-
to compost it for us.
So that's our 4-step chicken killing process. I recently had a conversation with one of our Amish friends, and I learned a little bit about how they do cows, but we're not nearly ready for that
No.
yet. Certainly not in an off-grid.
No, you need
Low
a
to no-
tractor or a winch.
They use winches and pulleys
Yeah.
with horses or men. Like they team up on, and I think they do it all differently, as from what I could gather.
Okay.
Anyway, so they shoot at the back of the head. It drops every time, no problem, and then they pulley it up, hoist it up, clean it, do whatever. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
But we do know chickens.
Yeah.
And ducks.
Yeah, we're fast at poultry.
Yeah.
With the ducks, we have tried the paraffin wax,
Mm-hmm.
which is doable, but for the amount that you have to do, like, that's fine if you're doing 1 or 2 ducks.
Yeah.
But if you're doing like 50 ducks,
It's not.
we just skin them.
Yep.
It's
They're
fine.
easy to skin.
Yeah.
You don't.
It's just like skinning a rabbit or something. Like it's not that bad.
We definitely appreciate the taste difference between a skinned
Yes.
animal and
They're
not. There is a
better
difference.
with the skin.
Yeah.
But if you have to do a lot of them,
Ugh,
even
you'll
with the
go mad.
paraffin wax, it's a lot.
You'll go mad.
Yeah.
It's too much.
So also on meat, you know, if you need a pressure canner or if you're a rebel and you just water bath can your meat, if that's how you're going to do your shelf stable meat,
Yeah, you've seen some stuff on
we
that.
should talk about that maybe in the next episode.
We haven't done it yet.
Lots and lots of people just use water bath canners. I'm not telling you what to do, but you know, your kitchen, your rules.
But they're smoking. We've done some smoking on our
barbecue. You turn our barbecue into a smoker,
I
which
do,
is
yeah.
awesome.
It is awesome. It's like, so the way it works is, I didn't want to buy a smoker.
We don't like unitasker
No,
appliances.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I've got this propane. I'm gonna do some kind of outdoor oven one year
Yeah.
that does all the things. But for right now, our Broil King mid-range propane barbecue does everything beautifully. And so to turn any barbecue into a smoker, if you've got a barbecue that has, say, 2 or 3 sections, you just take the grill, the main grill that you normally cook on, the bottom grill, you either remove it or stack it onto one of the other sections. So you've got one open section where you can touch the burner plate, like the guard, right on top of the burner.
Okay.
And what you do is you just take any piece of wood, preferably something with bark, preferably something wet and green.
Right.
Doesn't matter what kind
Like
of wood.
apple would be nice, but
Yeah,
you don't
no.
have to be
Well,
picky.
I've done maple, I've done birch, I've done... no, not white birch because the bark's flammable.
Right.
I've done red birch.
Yeah.
I've done poplar, pine. It all tastes
all pretty good,
exactly
yeah.
the same. I haven't noticed any difference. Smoke is smoke.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's probably from that foodie, like everybody's got piercings and
Right.
goatees and tattoos.
Sure.
Anyway,
A man bun.
we're more practical here. The smoke.
Yeah.
So you just get a scrap piece of wood, preferably something wet that you don't want to burn anyway. You put it on the burner, you put it on low, you get the barbecue hot, like to 250, so not hot. Mm-hmm. Then when you've reached temperature, you put this piece of wood on, you put it on in the beginning, you turn the left hand, so the other two burners that don't have wood on them, you turn them off. Then the one that has wood on, you put it on low to kind of medium low. You'll know because if it's not hot enough, it won't make the wood smoke. But if it's too hot, it'll light it on fire.
Yeah.
And it's not an emergency fire.
Right.
Like don't worry if there's fire in your
Yeah.
barbecue. You just take the hose or a glass of water.
The
you put it
barbecue
out.
is meant to contain a fire.
Exactly.
You're okay.
Yeah. So anyway, that's how you make a smoker, and you do have to get a feel for it, and you'll see different types of scraps of wood and different moisture contents will make more or less smoke. And then what you do with your meat, depending on how fast you want to smoke it, if you want to smoke it in a few hours, you put it up on the top left, so as far away from the heat sources you can get.
Okay.
But if you want to cook it over like really smoke it, cold smoke it as best possible, you put it on the bottom left. So there's very little heat, and all you're doing is getting the swirling of the smoke.
Right. Okay.
Now, this is all just technique from a standard barbecue. And I could probably go into more detail, but it's very possible.
Yeah.
And then when I'm done smoking, I put my barbecue back together, and if anything, it's better because it's got this O to smoke in it, so everything tastes a little smoky. The only time that didn't work is when we baked cake.
Yeah, that was gross.
Smoky chocolate cake was not good. It was not good. So that's a little bit of meat prep that we've actually done without getting fancy with unitasking appliances and tractors.
Yeah. If you need it, get it now. As far as like meat grinder, sausage stuff, casing, seasoning. If you need a vacuum sealer, extra bags, it's nice to just have all that stuff at hand.
Yeah.
Instead of scrambling for it when you have boxes and boxes of meat to deal with.
Yeah.
After meat, we think about heat.
We do. Yeah.
What do you do? This is mainly your department.
Yeah,
keeping us warm.
We we heat our water mostly with propane for showers. So we stock up, I get, how many do I get? 7. I have 7 20-pound tanks of propane.
Okay.
And that gets me into spring.
Right.
So that's all I need for a family of 9.
Okay.
And propane didn't go up.
No.
Propane's still basically $25 a tank.
Yeah.
It's still like $1 a liter, which is crazy with all this weird fuel shortage and
It's great.
the way they're trying to gouge everybody. So we fill up on propane. I fill up on gas for the generator. Once again, I've got a...
That's the snowblower too. Like
It is going to be the snowblower this year.
incidental
Yeah, it's our
things.
first year with a snowblower. Yay.
Well, we've had a snowblower.
An
but
electric one,
they're
but it
electric
wasn't
snowblowers.
self-propelled.
Yes.
If you don't have a self-propelled snowblower, you might as well have a
probably-
shovel.
It probably works if you live somewhere with dry snow.
Maybe.
But our snow is heavy.
Heavy
And wet.
and wet.
And it comes down like feet at a time.
Yeah, it just plumps
Like
down.
you're not
Yeah.
going to get that with a non-propelled
So anyway, I
snowblower.
picked up this cool old Craftsman, this beast.
Yeah.
And the guy was selling it for $175 Canadian. And it was a 33-inch, 13 horsepower. If anybody is listening knows anything about snowblowers, it's a beast. They don't make them much bigger than that. And so I picked this snowblower up, and the guy said, I don't know, I can't get it to work. And he told me a couple of things, and I said, okay, cool, I'll see what I can do.
It was a gamble.
It was
And
a
honestly,
gamble.
I was like, I don't know.
I don't know.
You're waffling.
That's $175
I'm
worth
not
of
just
meat
going
there.
to lose $175. So
And so I got it home, and I took it apart, and it turns out it just needed the valves adjusted, which I am not very historically mechanically inclined. I'm learning fast.
Yeah.
I had to learn to do this on one of our generators.
Yeah.
It was adjust the valves. I had to buy a little spanner tool and
yeah.
get the clearances right. And anyway, that's all it needed.
Great.
So, yeah, it was awesome.
Now we're in business.
Yeah.
You can't wait for that first.
Oh, man. Yeah.
What else do we do? Oh, well, mainly we heat with wood.
Yeah,
As far as heating the house.
The house itself, we heat entirely with wood.
Yeah.
We don't have any. We have 2 wood stoves. One really nice one we got last year. Old one. They're both very old.
Yeah.
But they're nice. They're big. They do more than the job. It's amazing how wood heat dries the house out.
It does.
Which
is nice when you live in a humid climate.
Yeah.
If you don't, yesterday when we were at Crappy Tire, I saw they sell kettles that have like mesh tops for humidity, to add humidity into your house. It was in the wood stove section.
Why would it be here?
Well, I don't know why it'd be here. They probably just put it in every wood stove section in every Canadian Tire.
Yeah.
But yeah, you wouldn't need that here. But if you do live somewhere dry and you're having trouble with the wood stove, I thought that was a genius idea.
Yeah, anywhere out west, like the Western Prairies, it was always so dry there.
But we do like having that kettle on our wood stove all the time.
Constantly.
It's so handy to just be able to grab like a cup of hot water for whatever you need. Our kitchen wood stove also has like a water.
It's like a copper tank built on the side of it from the factory. And of course
that has like the oven and stuff. So in the winter, we're just cooking and baking all day long because it's always on, and so you can just use it constantly. I love it.
It's amazing.
So we don't use our propane really at all.
In the winter our propane dies off entirely.
It's just showers.
It's just showers.
Yeah.
Which is compared to like canning, showers uses
nothing. Yeah.
Do we have to take another break? Or?
We should take a quick break. Who do you want to thank today?
I don't know.
Let's talk about EMP Shield.
Yeah.
EMP Shield will protect all your devices from
any device it's connected to, vehicles, generators, solar equipment. They've even got these little clips that you can buy from them that clip onto your solar cables that prevent like voltage arcs and stuff during an EM pulse.
Yeah.
Anyway, use the code OGPF on our friends page and you get $50 off any unit.
Which is big.
It is.
That's a big
Thrive Life Foods, we love Thrive Life stuff. It's really high quality. If you check out the link on our friends page, you can get 15% off your first order.
Yeah,
it's
they've got some
stuff.
good deals this month too. And Jace Medical is emergency antibiotics. You can get them now in Canada and the US. If you want $15 off, use the link on our site. And it's great if you're traveling or, just if you won't, shortages, can't get things, just get it now. They last for a long time. And if you have coverage, they do send you a receipt and you can claim that on your insurance.
Nice.
Okay, so go back to wood. How do you prepare for winter for heat?
Well, it's been different every year, but it's mostly just a volume thing, like as much as we can get. It's been different every year for us because we've been constantly growing our house and changing. And the first 2 years we changed into a different house entirely. And anyway, we just harvest as much wood as we can. Your wood has to be dry.
Yeah.
Ideally
you're a year ahead.
Ideally, you're ahead.
Which is hard to achieve.
It is hard. If you harvest in the early spring and you have the opportunity to lay that wood out, best if you can split it in the spring.
Yeah.
Like this is before the bugs start to come out. Then it'll be dry by the winter. And that's coming from, like, our humidity averages 90% most of the year. Yeah. It's ridiculous. And that works for us.
And worst case scenario, if you're low on wood and it's winter, there are some trees that we've found burn fine wet. What trees would those be?
So you were asking which trees would burn wet?
Yeah, like
actually,
it's 3 a.m.
Yeah,
you have no wood left.
Let's talk about our first winter briefly.
Let's not. I don't feel like having a flashback right now.
Okay,
but what trees burn
when it's winter and you're out of wood and it's 3 a.m. and you have to cut trees down? We have a tree here called a red birch.
Yeah.
And I know there's other trees. Maybe other people listening have trees like this, but they're the scraggliest, sickest trees.
Yeah, they maybe last for 10 years and they fall over.
They're a hardwood, but they're not, I don't know how to describe it. They're not light, they're very dark inside, they're dark red, and they have birch bark, which is that telltale horizontal model on it. Yeah. And anyway, they similar leaves to a white birch, but they grow very strangely. They grow in groves, so they have an underground connection. And the red birch tree that we have is the only tree that we can really cut down and burn that day. You can burn it immediately, and it's like they don't hold any moisture inside. It's like it all goes in the bark or something. So maybe there are other trees out there.
So it's about learning your land, your trees. Just like with everything else with this, you know, the more you know about the things that grow where you are, the more comfortable you can be.
When you get desperate like we did, you will learn fast what trees burn and what trees don't and how they burn.
Because some trees, they suck more heat out of your house
than
they give you.
They really, especially the early stages.
Make sure you've got all your wood tools, you know, your axes all sharpened and extra chains.
Another thing on trees is, for example, the white birch, which is the silver birch, very popular North American tree. It's all over the place. Extremely flammable bark.
So if you need fire later, you just grab a piece of the birch bark.
And it's almost like magnesium. It's amazing. It's incredible. So when we get back into heat sources, preparing, I like to have 2 chainsaws in working order. I only use the Ego 56-volt battery-powered chainsaws. There's no oil to mix.
They're still super powerful.
I use vegetable oil, like any kind of oil to lubricate the chain.
You can keep up with the gas-powered chainsaws
easily
with that Ego. And it's quiet.
It's quiet. All you hear is the chain and a little bit of whine from the electric motor. Anyway, it's the best way to go.
If you don't have wood stoves or they can't cover your whole house or you're just thinking about just in case, we do like the buddy heater. It's good. Supposedly you can run it inside.
They say that. We've never...
I don't know. That seems sketchy. Make sure you've got your carbon monoxide detector if you're going to try that.
It's got a thing... what's it called? That ceramic plate. It's... I learned about it in the oil field. It's a certain thing where it burns the carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide. I don't know how it works, but there is a thing with the buddy heater where they really say that you can use it indoors.
You can like run it in a tent.
So
but if
we've
you're
never
trying
done
to
it.
keep, I don't know, something from
freezing.
freezing.
If you have electric heat and you need a backup heater, it's a very affordable, high quality thing, and we've used it, like I say, in the greenhouse, in the garage.
Make sure you've got curtains. Pump up your insulation
you
can.
Curtains.
They make such a
difference. And so our curtains, we just bought canvas drop cloth from Home Depot. And you be careful. There's 2 grades. The lighter one is cheaper and not as good, and the more beige-ish. Not yellow, but it's more brown. It hangs better. And we're not princesses.
No, it looks fine.
I'm not a sissy. No, it's plain, it's nice, and it works.
It really does. It keeps things
But any curtains. And I think that would work, but like we've had nice curtains in the past of made out of polyester, whatever, synthetic fabrics, and I swear they didn't work as well. And we've been through those phases where we use that shrink film on our windows, and curtains are better.
They do a better job.
They do a better job, We have double glazed windows. Nothing fancy, but when you close those curtains, it's an immediate difference.
Okay. Are we done with heat?
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to clothing. First of all, you should get one of my planners so you can do a seasonal clothing inventory and make sure you have everything you need for every family member so it doesn't, get to December and you realize one of your kids has no boots or something. You need boots. We make sure to have snowshoes. The modern ones, not like the ones that look like...
No, you can get great modern snowshoes on Amazon that clip on like snowboard boots.
One year that was a Christmas thing. Anything flannel lined or like wool, the pants with the flannel. I like the Costco fuzzy flannel tights. Anything like that. How about alternate energy sources? Okay, if you're not off-grid now, you need alternate energy sources because winter storms happen.
We just had a hurricane that knocked out. So I don't know if any of our listeners have heard just how bad it is. There's still people here without power 2 weeks after the hurricane.
It's over 2 weeks now.
And it knocked out everybody. The whole island was out.
We were the only people with power.
I'm sure there are other off-grid people here, but we don't know them. We don't know anybody.
And we wouldn't
No.
We don't know if they took their batteries or their panels in.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So if you didn't do that, you also wouldn't have power.
But anyway, you want to have alternative energy sources. If you're on the grid in the winter, there's a good chance it's going to go down, especially with all this weird stuff
and
that
then
the
you
US
lose all
is pulling.
the food in your freezer, and you have no heat possibly.
Yeah.
Sometimes even like your stove won't work, even though it's a gas stove, because right.
Well, this summer they were doing all that like really vicious power cycling in Texas
brownouts,
and they were just shutting, and they were taking control of your Nest or whatever smart thermostats, turning your temperature up. Like, wow.
Yeah, so that's scary. So have at least a generator and some fuel storage.
A good generator. You have to have a really nice generator. Now, you don't have to spend 10 grand on a Generac.
No.
I would if I could. They make nice stuff.
Yeah.
But you do have to spend at least $1,500 at least on a 5,000 watt-ish generator.
If you want to
if you want to run more than one refrigerator, you got to spend at least $1,500 on a generator.
You could get a battery bank. Mm-hmm. You could throw some solar on.
Yeah. Oh, I should point out, my generator, I spent, I think it was $900 on. Uh-huh. My generator is not big. I manipulate my power loads.
Right.
Like there's engineering involved, so I don't have to buy a big generator, and I use relays, and it's really complicated. If you don't want to
think about it,
you have to get. Yeah. You got to go big.
Yeah.
So.
How about animals? How do we prepare for winter for animals? Number one,
excuse me.
You harvest all the animals that you can.
You harvest all the animals you can. We have laying hens are the only animals we keep over the winter. Yeah. We try the other animals like bunnies. It just doesn't work for us. Yeah. I'm sure it works for other people. We have one small barn, and in the winter, we change the door that they come out of.
Right.
So right now, the door they come out of, it's going to be in a place where all the snow is going to pile off the roof. I'm going to change it to the south door. There's another little hinge door that I don't use all summer, because in the winter they go through in the summer they go through a run, like a chicken run, so they stay caged in until they've laid all their eggs.
Right.
But in the winter, they don't go anywhere. Chickens can't stand snow. They don't, if it snows, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You have to blow the snow and clear it out, and they might come out and peck. I'm astonished. And we've tried several varieties of chickens. They can't stand the snow.
Yeah.
So in the winter, I actually pick the door that is more to the front of the building, where I can access it with, in the past, shovels.
Yeah.
But this year, my big snow blower. And that's important. So that's how I prepare. And I know that people use different methods with their cattle in the winter.
Yeah. You should not heat your coop.
No.
Like, we live in very, very, very cold weather. Heating your chicken coop is a really easy way to light your barn on fire.
Yeah.
But B, it can be dangerous for them.
It makes them sick.
Yeah.
They're animals. They will adapt.
Yeah.
We haven't lost a single chicken in the winter, actually.
No.
I just realized that. We've lost chickens in the summer and the spring and the fall.
So they need it to be secure, not drafty, but it does have to be ventilated. And if you supplement some light and make sure that their calorie intake is up, they won't stop laying for very long. And
supplemented light, we just have windows in our chicken coop. Like I wired in LEDs and I ran an underground wire.
We never used it.
We never used it. Yeah. They just have to actually have sunlight. So we have some big old antique windows that we got with our cottage.
Right.
Those single pane things. And that's enough. Yeah. It is. Our chickens only stopped laying last year for like two weeks maybe, when they molted.
We make sure to give them lots of calories in the winter.
Yep.
We give them beef tallow mixed in with their food. You know,
fat scraps.
If we're processing a bunch of beef, we'll give them all the beef scraps. Yep. We give them duck fat, like whatever we've got.
And they get all our leftovers. Yeah. Like we don't have a compost bin. No, we don't even have a compost pile.
No.
It all goes to the chickens.
Yeah. So we save eggs.
We do.
And we freeze eggs.
Yeah.
But we rarely use them.
We do, yeah.
You just need to be able to get your animals water that isn't frozen. And for most people, that just means bringing them out water a couple times a day.
Yeah, for us, they're in a small barn. It's 6 by 16. It's a shed practically. But because of the small space and the fact that it's insulated, their water, it won't freeze inside. Yeah. So it stays unfrozen, like it doesn't even get ice on it. And it's just things like that where you realize if I just heat from these animals at minus 25.
Chickens have a lot of BTUs.
They have a lot of heat.
Yeah. If you've ever held a chicken, yeah.
Oh yeah.
We make sure to stock some extra feed. You know, if you need meds for your animals, anything like that, get that now.
Yep.
We still need to talk about food.
A lot more. So we're going to make this a 2-part episode.
All the other stuff.
There's a lot of important things we want to talk about. We want to thank our sponsors.
All of our listeners, especially when you like, subscribe, share. That's really awesome.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks.
Our son's putting these on YouTube now, so we've got some new subscribers finding us in a different way. So if you want to listen to us on YouTube, that's fun.
Yeah, he's putting some nice pictures.
Yeah, it's still just audio.
That's what we keep on the TV most of the time, is just like a nice scene.
Yeah.
With nice
maybe
music.
Some background ambience. So there you go. There's some ambience. Off-grid ambience. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.